Welcome viewers and listeners. My name is Andrew Smith, and today I will be talking about the Internet. To be more specific, I will be expressing the issues involved with our current system called the centralized Internet, as well as explaining how a decentralized peer-to-peer Internet is an alternative that can serve as a solution to these issues. To begin, let's make sure you have an understanding of the current structure of our centralized Internet. In a centralized system, all data that is being processed has to pass through specific hardware put in place by network providers. For example, consider a large network by the name of Google. Whenever you use a Google search engine, such as Google Chrome, that search is processed through Google servers, and you receive access to information directed to you from those servers, such as search results or websites. This current centralized system of Internet serves its purpose well. The hardware and services of network providers keep the Internet running quickly and allows everyday users like ourselves to be unconcerned with the maintenance and upkeep of personal servers. But with this system comes a variety of often unnoticed yet monumental downsides, which stem from few commonly recognized issues with the current centralized Internet. These issues include the corporate ownership of user data and large-scale censorship of information. Corporate collection and ownership of user data has been a topic of contention in recent years, and it's clear to see why. Before you are able to use their services, networks will first ask you to agree to terms and conditions and an end-user license agreement. By accepting these terms and agreements, users like ourselves are often giving permission to large networks to collect and even sell our user data. Oftentimes, users are unaware that they are agreeing to such circumstances, because let's be honest, does anyone actually read through the entire terms and conditions? Not only does the collection of user data put our personal privacy at risk from data breaches, but the data that large tech companies and network providers collect from users such as ourselves is also monetized in ways that can be concerning. As described in Yabing's thesis, User Data Sharing in Online Services, user data is collected from individuals such as ourselves and shared directly to third-party advertisers who can in turn target us with user-specific ads. This system of data monetization has been extremely profitable. Liu even uses a statistic describing how Facebook received about $17 billion in ad revenue in the year 2015. With this method of monetization, not only do the large tech companies have your user data, but that same data is also accessed by third parties. By design, the majority of the centralized Internet is controlled by few large network providers. With this centralized control stems what is probably the most significant issue with the centralized system: censorship. With corporations in control of what data is available to users, they are in complete control of what users of their networks are able to view. In the same way that corporations are able to censor data on their networks, entire governments are able to use those corporations to censor large pools of information. Take, for example, the Chinese government, which censors blacklisted information on a majority of the country's internet services. The type of censorship that occurs in China is explored by Dimitar Georgiev and Edmund Malesky in the article Consultation and Selective Censorship in China, in which it is concluded that diffusing collective action potential, or CAP, may very well be the paramount consideration when deciding what information should be censored. This means that the Chinese government is censoring information that can lead to large groups acting in opposition against the government. This cooperation between government and corporation to collectively silence ideas of large groups of individuals is something that should be of great concern. The more a government can silence opposing ideas and actions, the more that government can become authoritarian in nature. At this point, you should be well versed in some of the issues surrounding a centralized Internet. But how will the creation and use of a decentralized Internet solve these problems? A decentralized Internet works in a very different way to a centralized one. Rather than individuals being connected to a central point with all information passing through that point, users will be directly connected to each other in what is commonly called peer-to-peer connection. Within this decentralized system, data is encrypted and stored in bits across the entirety of the decentralized web, rather than that information being stored in single defined locations. This encryption and disbursement of data will make it virtually unhackable, which means no more data breaches. What is possibly the most important benefit of a decentralized web is that the lack of a need for large networks to store and direct data will end the reliance of users upon network providers. With their services no longer needed, corporations wouldn't be able to collect user data, thus ending the monetization of our personal information. This new system of Internet would be one that is democratic. It will be the creators and the users, the individuals, who decide who gets access to what information. No longer would governments be able to suppress dissenting opinions or be able to silence ideas that don't totally align with their own positions. As great as the future of decentralized internet sounds, there are still multiple roadblocks in the way of making it the perfect solution. One problem that limits the possibility of a decentralized internet is described in the article Everything You Need to Know About the Decentralized Internet by Adam Rowe as mass adaptation. If people are comfortable enough with the current system of internet that they are using, why bother switching? This issue is even more detrimental to the possibility of a decentralized internet because the value and capabilities of peer-to-peer connections rely on the number of devices and users connected to the system. There also exists many problems with technological capability. Many advancements, like those in data compression, will have to take place before the decentralized internet becomes a possible reality. As all things do, the switch to a decentralized system is something that is just going to have to take some time, and will become more possible with greater public understanding. And of course, I'm not saying that a decentralized internet is the only solution to the problems afforded by the current system, but it is a solution that should be considered and worked towards as a hopeful possibility.